So we're continuing this morning, this new series that I began for you last week. We are looking at, reflecting upon the life of that first king of Israel, Saul, whom I suggested is one of the great tragic heroes within the Bible. Now, to learn about Saul and to reflect upon his life, it requires me to do a little bit of storytelling each week before the reading. What we are doing here is our formal reading, you might say, little glimpses, little moments in his life that are significant. But it's part of a bigger story. You might say the biography of Saul. So let me just tell you, before our reading, let me just give you a little bit of a story that brings us up to this moment. We saw last week that the people of Israel, that they wanted a king. They wanted to be like the other nations, even though they had a prophet. And Samuel, the prophet, spoke to God, and God said, they're going to be sorry if they have a king. They're going to be sorry if they follow the ways of the nations. But God says to Samuel, it's not you, Samuel, they are rejecting. They are rejecting me. So right from the beginning, there is this cloud hanging over Israel in their desire to seek and to possess, to call a king. But this is what they seek to do. A king is going to be called. Now we come up to this present moment. God has chosen the man who is going to become king. He doesn't realize it. He's not someone whom you would imagine to be king. But this man named Saul, who is of the tribe of Benjamin. He's a young guy. And Saul is sent with one of the boys from his family to look for some donkeys that have gone astray. Interestingly, the boy says, let's forget about the donkeys for now. Let's go into town because there is a prophet there and he can help us. So they go into town and Samuel is there and he greets Saul and he tells him this incredible news that God has called you to be king. Probably, as you can imagine, very, very overwhelming for Saul. But he's given this news that Saul is to become king, the first king of Israel. And that brings us up to this moment that I will read for you this morning. This vignette, this powerful, powerful window into the experience of Saul. So as Saul, and this is from the first book of Samuel, the 10th chapter, as Saul turned away to leave Samuel, God gave him another heart, and all these signs were fulfilled that day. When they were going there, from there to Gibeah, a band of prophets met him, that is, met Saul, and the Spirit of God possessed him, and he fell into a prophetic frenzy along with them. When all who knew him before saw how he prophesied with the prophets, the people said to one another, what has come over the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets? A man of the place answered, and who is their father? Therefore it became a proverb. Is Saul among the prophets? When his prophetic frenzy had ended, he went home. I'm sure you're familiar with Proverbs. A proverb is, literally, it's a word for you. Proverb is a saying, a wise saying, or a saying that has a particular teaching significance, if you will, a particular educational significance. It can be a bit of advice. It can be something helpful that allows us to live our lives more fully. Think of Proverbs. I always remember one, perhaps you know this one as well. Haste makes waste.
Are you familiar with that? Haste makes waste. The idea is, of course, if you hurry, if you try to go too quickly, things are not going to go so well. Haste makes waste. There are all kinds of proverbs. Perhaps you have heard others that are familiar, things that you have been told, bits of advice, bits of wisdom that you have carried with you. In the Bible, there's an entire book dedicated to Proverbs. An entire book in the Old Testament, of course. Perhaps one of the most famous of these Proverbs is, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." That is, all before God is the beginning of wisdom. There's another proverb, "Seek wisdom and you shall live." All kinds of sayings that are out there, that are given to us, so we might learn something new, so that we might possess a little wisdom, so that we might receive a piece of good advice. And we all need good advice. We all need a little helpful reminder of the way in which we should live our lives. That's what a proverb is. That's what a proverb is. It's interesting when we meet Saul here now. He's just left Samuel, and he comes across this whole group of prophets. And the prophets, they are caught up, it is written, in the power of the Holy Spirit. And the English adjective here, they're in a frenzy. They're going wild, we might say, in today's language. They're dancing around, they're jumping around, they're speaking, they are giving messages to the people. It's quite a scene. And all of a sudden, this simple young man, Saul, who up until this moment had just been a regular guy, a regular young man of the tribe of Benjamin, out looking for lost donkeys, all of a sudden now, he is swept up in this moment. And Saul is transformed. Saul is now in the midst of this frenzy, prophesying with these prophets. And it says here, there are two very, very interesting things. It says here that Saul was given a new heart. He was a changed man. All of a sudden, he was brand new. He was prophesying. And then the people were wondering, what is going on here? We know that Saul. What is going on here? And it came to be said that there was a new proverb. Is Saul among the prophets? Think about what I just said a proverb is. Haste makes waste. A simple saying that gives us some good advice. A simple saying that teaches us something important. But now there is this proverb. Is Saul among the prophets? I have been thinking about this all week. What is the advice here? What is the teaching that we are being given with this new proverb? Is Saul among the prophets? Usually, a proverb is a statement. Usually, it's something that is said directly to us. Sometimes it's in the form of a command. Haste makes waste, so don't do it. But here, this proverb is a question. It's so unusual. It's so unusual. Is Saul among the prophets? Here's my thought after thinking about it this whole week. When the people say, is Saul among the prophets, the proverb perhaps is, God can take anybody and give them a new heart and give them a new spirit, and then they can be amidst the prophets. So perhaps the advice here, when the people say, is Saul among the prophets, it really means, I think, God can do anything with anybody. You say, yeah, you think so, Vermillion? Yeah. What is your thought there? Yes. So Reverend said, God can take, even if you're bad, God can take you and use you and do something new with you. Yeah, whether you're bad or just whether you're a regular person, whether you're a regular person like Saul, something new can be done with you. So this little vignette, this little moment in Saul's life, it begins with that statement that Saul was a new person. God created a new person. That's right. In the New Testament, of course, his namesake, Saul, who becomes Paul, God gave him a new spirit, and he became a new person. Yeah, absolutely. So this proverb, is Saul among the prophets? The piece of wisdom, the piece of advice that's being given here, I think, is that, of course, yes, he's among the prophets. We're reading that, but the wisdom here is that God can take Saul, God can take you or me or anyone, and can make us into a new person. And of course, for the people who see Saul dancing around with the prophets, maybe singing, dancing, speaking, going wild there, in a frenzy, the people, they see this regular guy all of a sudden doing something dramatically new. Surely that's a sign. If that could happen to Saul, something wonderful, something miraculous can happen to each and every one of us as well. This is a happy moment in Saul's journey. God has called him to be this king. It's an unusual moment because we've seen that having a king is going to cast a shadow over Israel. But at the very same time, God is lifting up this person, taking a regular guy, lifting him up, and giving him that new heart, that new spirit to lead the people. God is going to do something with Saul. God is going to make him a new man. God is going to fill him with a spirit that causes that kind of dancing, that kind of frenzy, that kind of preaching. Something new is going on here. Throughout time, people have looked at these different characters in the Bible. Think about David, who will become the second king of Israel. David was just a kid. David was a young guy. David was just the son of a shepherd. But God took David and God did something miraculous with David. Now, the changes that God makes in our lives, they could be miraculous, like in the case of Saul here. But the changes can be small. They can be subtle. The changes can be things that evolve over time. The experience of change, it doesn't necessarily mean the heavens open and all of a sudden you're up and dancing and in a frenzy like Saul. But the changes that we experience in our spiritual lives, typically they evolve. There can be a little stirring within the heart in which we feel something new is happening within us, in which we feel that we are being pulled in a new direction, or that we can feel a change within our heart. New ideas, new thoughts, new emotions, maybe changing our path in life completely. God is always active. God is always active in the life of this world and in the life of his people. God is always active. God is not standoffish. God is not content to just remain within the heavens and to allow this world to go its own way. God is active. God is present. God moves within the hearts of men and women everywhere. The young and the old and all ages in between. God is eager to give a new heart throughout the ages, just as God gave that new heart to Saul long ago. Perhaps it's important for us then to just remember that there is one who is working within my life. Sometimes we may not notice. Sometimes we may not have a sense that something new is happening within us because the changes can be very subtle. The changes can be very gentle and they can evolve over time. I was thinking it's kind of like the difference between fast food and a slowly prepared meal. The spiritual life, in a way, is that slowly prepared meal that is done with love and care and attention, and that it is a meal that is enjoyed to the full after that beautiful preparation. I've seen people who love to cook, and I've seen the care with which they handle the ingredients, the time that is spent choosing ingredients, working with the ingredients, cooking slowly, carefully, and with great interest. In a way, that's kind of like what the spiritual life is. We are being prepared and shaped slowly and delicately by this one who is active, by this one who could take a young guy who was looking for some lost donkeys and do something radically new with him. God will choose a young guy from the tribe of Benjamin. I think the idea is, with this proverb, is Saul among the prophets, God will choose each of us. God will be in each of our lives, doing something new within each of our lives. That we are a project that is unfolding, if you will. We are in process. We are continuing to grow, continuing to evolve as we step day after day on the journey that is before us. For Saul, it was literally a journey that was placed before him. It was literally a journey. Leaving home, looking for donkeys, meeting Samuel, being told he would be king, being back on the road, meeting prophets, dancing in a frenzy, and we'll see where his journey leads next. But it's a journey. It's a journey. And in the midst of that journey, there is one who calls us. And in the midst of that journey, there is one who is active within us. And in the midst of that journey, there is one who says that, yes, I am going to do something with you. That is good news. That is good news in this world to know that we are not alone as we are making our way. Also, it is good news knowing that there is always more. There is always more to experience. There are always new ways in which to grow. There are always new insights. There are always new pieces of wisdom within our spiritual lives to receive. So perhaps we might think of that common proverb, haste makes waste, as we think about who we are. Who we are. Haste makes waste. But in our journeys, we're moving at our own pace. We're moving at our own pace with the living God who is at our side. Is Saul among the prophets? Yes, he surely has been among the prophets. Is Saul among the prophets? Then yes, indeed, God will be with us as well. Amen.